A gray cat sat in a shelter kennel for 61 days. 2 families took him home, 2 families brought him back, and every single person who passed his kennel said the exact same thing. He doesn't feel anything. But on day 73, a 12-year-old boy sat down on a cold hallway floor and didn't move for 11 nights straight. On night 12, everything changed. A gray cat sat in kennel 7 for 61 days straight. 2 families took him home, 2 families brought him back, and every single person who passed his kennel said the exact same thing. He doesn't feel anything. But on day 73, a 12-year-old boy sat down on a cold hallway floor and didn't move for 11 nights. What happened on night 12 will change everything you think you know about the cats the world calls impossible to love. His name was Smoke, a British Shorthair with a coat the color of a storm cloud and a face that looked like he had personally reviewed every human on the planet and found them all disappointing. Thick, round, serious, the kind of face that makes strangers step back, the kind of face shelters hate because it doesn't photograph well, doesn't make people stop, doesn't say, "Take me home." Smoke had been at the Cloverfield Animal Rescue for 61 days. In that time, 34 families had walked past Kennel 7 without slowing down. 2 had actually taken him home. The first family lasted 6 days. "He never purrs," they said. "He just sits there and stares. It's unsettling." The second family lasted 9 days. They called the shelter on a Tuesday morning. "He doesn't cuddle. He doesn't want to be held. We don't think he's capable of love." The shelter volunteers had a different word for him. Not broken, not aggressive, not difficult. They called him particular because Smoke had a system, and the system was non-negotiable. He ate at 7:04 a.m., not 7, not 7:10, exactly 7:04. He sat in the back left corner of his kennel, never the right, never the front, and every afternoon at 2 o'clock, he knocked the water bottle off the intake desk. Not the pens, not the clipboard, always the water bottle, with the calm, deliberate precision of someone who had thought it through very carefully and decided this was the correct move. Nobody could figure out why. Nobody took him home. Gerald was 68 years old and had been alone for 14 months. Not alone the way young people mean when they use that word. Not lonely, not searching, not restless. Alone in the specific, heavy way that happens when 41 years of a full house goes completely quiet all at once. His wife Marlene had passed the previous October. Pancreatic cancer. 4 months from diagnosis to the end. The house still smelled like her lotion in the mornings, if he stood in the right spot by the hallway closet. He had stopped standing there. He cooked dinner every night, ate at the kitchen table, watched the news, went to bed at 10:15, woke up at 6:30, repeated. His daughter called on Sundays. His son called less. The days were fine, orderly, manageable. Gerald had learned that manageable was enough. Then Owen arrived for the summer. Owen was 12, Gerald's grandson. He came every summer, had since he was small, back when the house was loud and Marlene made pancakes on Saturdays, and Gerald taught him chess on the back porch. But this summer was different. Owen was quieter, taller. He carried his phone like a shield and spoke in short sentences and stared out the window a lot during dinner. Gerald's daughter, Claire, had said carefully, "The school year was hard, a falling out with friends. He just needs a quiet summer. He just needs you." Gerald wasn't sure he was what anyone needed anymore. The two of them settled into a polite, careful silence neither knew how to break. It was Owen who found the shelter post. He was on the couch one evening, phone in hand, and he turned the screen toward Gerald without saying a word. A gray cat in a small kennel, sitting with his tail wrapped around his feet, staring at the wall like it had personally let him down. He's been there 61 days. 2 families gave him back, Owen said. Gerald looked at the photo for a moment. "We're not cat people," he said. Owen nodded and looked back at his phone. That night, Gerald looked up the shelter address. The volunteer at the front desk didn't sugarcoat it. "He is a lot," the young man said. "He has opinions about everything. He's knocked over our water bottle 23 times in 2 months, and we have 1 water bottle." He paused. "He's also the most intelligent animal I've personally ever met. Whether that's a selling point depends entirely on who's asking." Gerald walked directly to Kennel 7. Smoke was in the back left corner, enormous tail curled around his feet, eyes fixed on the wall. When Owen crouched down in front of the kennel door, Smoke turned his head slowly and looked at him like a judge looks at someone who has arrived late to their hearing. Not angry, just noting the fact. "Hi," Owen said. Smoke blinked once, turned back to the wall. Owen looked up at Gerald. Gerald looked at the gray cat who had just dismissed his grandson like an inconvenient footnote. He thought about the quiet house, the empty chair at the kitchen table, Owen's careful silences. He thought about Marlene, who had always said that the things worth having never come easy. "We'll take him," Gerald said. If you're still watching and haven't subscribed yet, honestly, that stings a little. Hit subscribe. You're going to want to see where this goes. The first week was a quiet disaster. Smoke disappeared behind the washing machine within 4 minutes of arriving and did not come out for 2 full days. Gerald left a small plate of food near the laundry room, not close, just nearby, and by morning it was always empty. He didn't mention it to Owen, just refilled the plate. On the third night, Owen sat down in the hallway floor outside the laundry room with his back against the wall and the book in his lap. He didn't call Smoke, didn't reach in, didn't try anything, just sat there reading in the hallway like it was the most natural place in the world to be. He came back the next night, and the night after that. Gerald passed by once at 9 p.m. and found Owen still there, book open, not really reading, just sitting. Gerald didn't say anything. He went to the kitchen, made 2 cups of tea, and left one on the floor beside Owen without a word. Owen picked it up, didn't say anything either. From behind the washing machine, 2 amber eyes watched the steam rise from the cup. 11 nights, same spot, same silence. On day 12, at 6:47 in the morning, Gerald came downstairs in his robe and sat at the kitchen table with the newspaper he still subscribed to out of 40 years of habit. Smoke walked in from the hallway. He didn't announce himself, didn't chirp, didn't knock anything over. He walked to the kitchen table with the quiet dignity of someone who had made a decision and intended to honor it. He looked at Gerald for a long, still moment. Then he jumped onto Marlene's chair. Not Gerald's chair, Marlene's chair, the one nobody had sat in since October. He turned twice, settled, and tucked his paws beneath his chest. His tail drifted across the edge of the table toward Gerald's coffee cup. Gerald did not reach for him, did not speak, just looked at the newspaper and turned the page. When Owen came downstairs 40 minutes later, his grandfather was asleep at the table, newspaper folded under his elbow, and Smoke was curled in Marlene's chair, one large paw resting on the table 6 inches from Gerald's hand. Close, not touching, close. Owen stood in the doorway for a long moment. Then he went and made more coffee quietly so Gerald wouldn't wake up. Some things deserve to be witnessed without a word. After that, the house shifted, not dramatically, in the slow, quiet way that real things change. Smoke had opinions, and the household learned them fast. He disapproved of Gerald's news channel and would plant himself in front of the television with the solemn authority of a building inspector. He had claimed the left end of the couch and enforced this claim, not with aggression, not with noise, simply by sitting beside whoever occupied it and staring at them, unblinking, until they relocated. They always relocated. He also developed a system for mornings. Every day at 6:09 a.m., without a single variation, he sat outside Gerald's bedroom door and chirped once. Not twice, once. Gerald started waking up at 6:08 just to open the door first. He never told this to Owen, but Owen noticed. One night, Owen got a message from a former friend, the kind of message that lands at 9 p.m. and makes a 12-year-old go very still. He came downstairs and sat on the kitchen floor without explanation. Gerald was at the table. He didn't ask, just pushed his crossword aside. Smoke walked in from the living room, looked at Owen, walked back out. Owen exhaled. Even the cat. But then Smoke returned. He was carrying his toy, a small battered stuffed fish with one eye missing that Owen had bought him in week 2. He dropped it at Owen's feet and sat down, not touching him, just present, the way someone sits with you when they don't have the right words but refuse to leave. Owen picked up the fish. Smoke climbed into his lap, all gray, serious, particular weight of him, and stayed. Gerald watched from across the table and said nothing, but later, washing the cups at the sink, he said quietly to no one in particular, "He always knows." Smoke had been returned twice, spent 61 days watching families pass without slowing down, had every reason in the world not to trust anyone, but he chose them anyway. A grieving old man, a quiet boy, and a kitchen table that needed to feel full again. He chose them on his own terms, in his own time, with the same deliberate precision he used for everything else, and they chose him back. Some stories are too important to keep to yourself. If you've ever given a chance to something the world called impossible to love, you already know what this feels like. And if you haven't yet, maybe smoke is your sign. Because love doesn't always purr loudly. Sometimes it sits 6 inches away from your hand on a cold morning and waits for you to notice. Sometimes it carries a one-eyed fish to a boy who needed someone to stay. Sometimes it climbs into the chair that's been empty for too long and simply decides, not anymore. If you're thinking about adopting a cat or any animal, please take the time to truly understand what they need. Talk to the people who know them. Be patient, because the ones the world calls too cold, too difficult, too much, are often just waiting for someone willing to sit on the floor long enough to be chosen. Smoke didn't need to be fixed. He needed someone who understood that his love looked different. And when he finally found them, it was the most certain, quiet, unshakable thing in that house. Is this love, or is it something even deeper than that?